Iran war may be over, but Americans are still paying the price at the pump as oil-linked fuel costs remain stubbornly high across the United States. Trump fumes that U.S. oil companies are gouging prices in the name of war, accusing them of hiding behind past crises to keep gasoline margins inflated. The angry U.S. president is now targeting major oil firms with a new Justice Department probe, aiming to show voters he is cracking down on pump price profiteering. Trump appears to be panicking as Republican ranks quietly rebel and midterm election pressure grows, turning high fuel costs into a serious political threat. Trump has ordered the Justice Department to investigate major oil companies over alleged gasoline price gouging, escalating his clash with the industry over consumer fuel costs. He accused big oil firms on June 23 of failing to pass through the sharp drop in crude prices to drivers at the pump, suggesting they are keeping margins artificially high. Experts say the White House is now explicitly targeting pump prices as political pressure builds ahead of the U.S. midterm elections, where cost of living is a central voter concern. Trump's Truth Social post read, quote, "The big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lower prices they are paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. I have instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing." Unquote. U.S. gasoline prices have fallen for a sixth straight week amid the Iran peace deal and related declines in global oil benchmarks. Trump insists that pump prices are still not falling fast enough despite significantly cheaper crude, arguing that consumers are not seeing the full benefit. According to GasBuddy data, the average U.S. gas price stood at $3.906 per gallon on June 24, reflecting recent declines but still elevated levels. Those figures show U.S. gasoline prices are down more than 14% from their peak in May, easing but not eliminating pressure on household budgets. Crude prices, by contrast, have fallen about 23% since the recent diplomatic breakthrough with Iran and are down roughly 40% from their March peak, deepening the gap Trump highlights. He claims oil companies are pocketing these extra profits rather than cutting retail prices as quickly as market conditions would justify. Even after recent declines, gasoline prices remain well above the $2.764 per gallon level recorded in January, underlining why many consumers still feel squeezed. Analysts warn that persistently high fuel costs remain a major political liability ahead of the midterms, especially in swing districts sensitive to everyday expenses. Trump and the Republican Party are facing mounting voter anger over broader cost of living issues, with gas prices serving as a visible symbol of economic frustration. Is President Trump losing support within the GOP over his deal with Iran? Political operatives and commentators are now watching intently as fissures appear in party unity, with several influential conservative voices questioning whether the agreement aligns with long-standing Republican foreign policy positions. GOP fury erupted after Trump cut a deal with Iran, with critics blasting the administration for negotiating with a regime they view as hostile and for what they say are concessions that could undermine regional security and American credibility. Saddened Republicans described the pact as a major blunder, expressing disappointment that their party leadership would endorse an agreement they argue fails to adequately constrain Tehran's behavior or protect U.S. and allied interests. A senior Republican went so far as to declare that Reagan is rolling over in his grave, invoking the late president as a symbol of conservative foreign policy principles to dramatize how profoundly some within the party believe the deal departs from traditional stances. Trump defended the pact, arguing that it advances U.S. strategic goals and that he remains prepared to revert to the use of force if Tehran violates the terms or if diplomacy fails, a stance meant to reassure critics while keeping military options on the table. As President Trump praises the merits of the Iran deal, many Republicans in Washington are visibly uneasy and on edge, with senior lawmakers and conservative commentators publicly debating whether the agreement betrays core party principles or leaves the United States exposed to future risks. Republicans angrily condemned President Trump's interim deal with Iran as a mistake, arguing that the pact contains concessions that could embolden Tehran and that the administration moved too quickly without securing ironclad guarantees or congressional oversight. The administration hailed the 14-point Memorandum of Understanding as a major win, intended to end the 110-day conflict, presenting the agreement as a diplomatic breakthrough that prioritizes de-escalation and the rapid return of stability to a volatile region. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy said, quote, "Reagan is rolling over in his grave. Iran's nuclear ambitions were not curbed, and they have learned that threatening the Strait of Hormuz works and will undoubtedly leverage it in the future. Now, Iran gets to build brand new infrastructure under this deal. Before the war, the strait was open, Iran was being crushed by sanctions, and 13 service members were still alive. Now, 13 Americans are dead, families have paid billions at the pump, sanctions will be lifted, and the bombing has stopped. This is the worst foreign policy blunder in decades, unquote. Trump administration officials emphasized the downblending of enriched uranium as an important safeguard, claiming that converting higher enriched material into forms less suitable for weapons reduces immediate proliferation risks and serves as a verifiable confidence-building measure. But critics counter that Trump's Iran deal accomplished less than the 2015 nuclear agreement negotiated under President Obama, saying the interim pact lacks the long-term, legally binding restrictions and intrusive verification mechanisms that defined the earlier accord. Another prominent Republican, Senator Ted Cruz, described elements of the pact as ill-advised and urged that further details be disclosed and scrutinized, warning that without greater transparency and stronger enforcement measures the agreement could prove dangerous rather than stabilizing. Republican Senator Ted Cruz said, and I quote, "What has been released so far suggests that, unfortunately, the president is getting, I think, very poor advice when it comes to this deal. History teaches that giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is a bad idea," unquote. While Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, following discussions with Envoy Witkoff, said he believes the Memorandum of Understanding could prove beneficial, he qualified that view by stressing the need for careful oversight, clearer verification steps, and contingencies to ensure the agreement actually delivers measurable security gains rather than merely offering temporary political cover. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said, and I quote after this discussion, "It is my opinion that signing the MOU will be beneficial to the United States, inasmuch as the Strait of Hormuz will begin to open, and the hostilities with Iran will stop. Whether or not the United States can reach an acceptable, verifiable deal with Iran regarding its nuclear program and other issues is yet to be determined, but I see little downside to trying," unquote. Vice President J.D. Vance publicly endorsed Senator Graham's updated assessment, signaling that senior figures in the administration and party leadership are willing to acknowledge potential positives in the memorandum while still insisting on rigorous safeguards and oversight. Republican Senator Tom Tillis warned that the proposed $300 billion fund for Iran raises serious concern and demanded fuller disclosure, saying lawmakers need precise details on governance, oversight, and conditionality before they can judge whether such a financial arrangement is prudent or perilous. Remember that the Memorandum of Understanding gives Iran and the United States 60 days to negotiate a comprehensive final agreement, a tight timetable that places pressure on negotiators to convert interim commitments into a durable, verifiable pact acceptable to both capitals and to key international stakeholders.